Good day, industry partners. Thank you very much for giving us another opportunity to share some technical insights with you today. In the previous years, we are in constant vigilance against ASF, and we have already done a lot of efforts in controlling the disease. Today, we will be talking about how we manage to keep our feed safe and the importance of having strong immunity of pigs not only against ASF but also to other economically important diseases that were sometimes overlooked by our farmers. To start with our presentation today, we will be discussing about the holistic approach in building up strong immunity against disease threats, basic biosecurity, importance of vaccination and supplements, role of good nutrition in building up strong immunity, and the importance of gut health integrity, how we produce good quality and safe feeds, ultra pack, and conclusion. So good nutrition is fundamental to improve immunity because the immune system is the body's defense against disease and infection, and it has been established that several factors influence the function of the immune system, including stress, sleep, and nutrition. So it is not only applicable to humans but also to animals. So research studies have shown clearly that high health status pigs eat more feed, grow faster and more efficiently during each stage of production, and produce carcasses that have greater amount of lean and less fat than conventional pigs. So to build up a herd with high health status, we should always think of biosecurity. So biosecurity refers to measures that are taken to stop the spread or introduction of harmful organisms to humans and animals. And all biosecurity efforts come with a cost, and ineffective methods should be avoided. Production practices that impose the greatest risk should be the focus rather than the low-risk activities. It is essential to have a swine veterinarian help us in developing written and detailed biosecurity, because all it takes is one breach of farm biosecurity to ruin a herd's health status or that of a neighbor's. This loss could have long-lasting and devastating production and financial effects on any farm. So how do we develop a useful basic biosecurity program? First, we should know what are the prevalent diseases that can affect your herd, know how each disease is transmitted, know how each disease can be controlled, know how to prevent each disease from entering the herd, know the potential cost of an introduction and outbreak, and we can always ask for a veterinarian's advice for a detailed biosecurity program. So examples of the most commonly overlooked breach in biosecurity are adding new pigs to the farm without a quarantine period, failing to quarantine new additions for whole 30 to 60 days, failing to require testing for specific diseases, and failing to require vaccination for specific diseases prior to addition, allowing pigs to return from fairs, shows, or exhibitions without quarantine and testing, allowing other domestic or wild animals to have contact with the pigs, feedstuffs, or water sources, and failing to prevent disease transfer via pig transportation, human contact, other vehicular traffic, or equipment used with more than one animal or used at other locations such as buying station, slaughter plant, or off-site farm. So these are the minimum recommended biosecurity measures according to the Philippine regulations. So this is an excerpt from the Philippine National Standard or PNS or BAFS 267-2019 ICS 65.020.30 or Code of Good Animal Husbandry Practice GAHAP for swine. under the clause of Biosecurity and Farm Sanitation is the Biosecurity Measures Program. So the farm should have a written protocol of biosecurity measures, and proper warning signage should be provided. Biosecurity procedures should be well implemented and continuously monitored to prevent introduction of diseases into the farm and or to control its spread within the farm. The biosecurity measures should take into consideration the relevant diseases identified by local regulations and authority. The farm should have the appropriate and functional layout and infrastructure to ensure effective implementation of the biosecurity measures. This should include facilities for disinfection at entry or exit point of the farm and the building. All incoming animals should undergo the appropriate quarantine measures. Stray animals should not be allowed within the premises. And imported live animals and animal byproducts should be accompanied by official documentation from the competent authority. It is very important to continue our vaccination program in the farm. When we vaccinate the sows, we need to establish a homogeneous immunity to be passed on to piglets. So we need to boost the immunity of the gilts in preparation for the breeding to gestating period. So we also need to boost the immunity of the pregnant sows, especially in the late gestation stage. Why? We have the so-called lactogenic immunity. So it means that the antibodies or immune cells from the colostrum will be transferred from the sows to the piglets. Maternal immunity ang tawag kapag nakuha pa lamang ng biik sa inahin ang kanyang immunity. So ang ganitong immunity ay pababa lang ang level over time. And sa swine kasi, impermeable ang kanilang placenta, meaning the antibodies cannot be transferred directly from the sow to the fetus. The only way is through colostrum. Colostrum is produced only during the first 24 to 48 hours, kaya pinaka-importante na makuha ito ng mga bagong panganak na biik. After 24 to 48 hours, ang bituka mismo ng mga biik ay nawawala ng kakayanan na mag-absorb ng mga antibodies galing sa colostrum. Pinakamainam talaga ay makakuha sila ng unang gatas galing sa kanilang inahin, lalo na kung tayo ay nagpa-practice ng fostering. Nanggagaling lang sa gatas ang antibodies until such time na makapag-create sila ng own strong immunity, kaya tayo ay magbibigay naman sa kanila ng bakuna para bago iwalay at bago bumaba ang kanilang immunity ay makapag-create na sila ng sariling immunity. So kaya dapat sa simula pa lang ay mataas na ang maipasa ng mga antibodies from the sows to the piglets. At kasama na dito ang mga bakunang itinuturok natin during the last trimester of the gestating sows. So ito ay para maipasa ang immunity sa mga biik sa mga unang linggo laban sa PRRS, E. coli, PED, PRV, etc. So ito yung flowchart kung paano naiipasa ang antibodies and immunity. So magsisimula ito sa gilts, papunta sa gestating sows, and papunta sa inahin para sila ang magpapasa nito sa pamamagitan ng colostrum at hanggang sa madala nila ito during the nursery stage. Ang vaccination sa suckling stage ay day 21 up ay para naman makapagbigay ng protection sa post-weaning stage. Ang pre-faro vaccination in sows ay para naman sa pag-build up ng immunity ng inahin at the same time para makapagpasa ng immunity sa piglets, kaya't mas maraming bakuna ang ini-schedule natin sa late trimester para hindi maapektuhan ang nabubuong fetus. At the same time, mataas ang antibody titer na pwedeng maipasa sa gatas. So, mga examples of vaccines that are given during late trimester are E. coli, PED, Glassers, and atrophic rhinitis, or ito yung Pasteurella and Bordetella bronchoseptica. So last, the deworming should be done at least 2 to 3 weeks before farrow to avoid shedding and contaminating the farrowing crates. And overall, the priority is to reduce stress in sows in all aspects. So if meron tayong mass vaccination schedules, mas nare-recommenda rin natin ang paggamit ng mga mixed vaccines upang mabawasan ang dalas ng pagtuturok sa mga inahin. So next ay ang good suckling management. Kailangan din nating tutukan ang mastitis, metritis, and agalaxia dahil kung walang gatas ang inahin ay hindi sila makakapagpasa ng antibodies sa mga biik. So kailangan nating pag-ibayuhin ang tamang suckling management sa inahin at the same time sa piglets. So sa inahin, meron tayong paraan katulad ng paglilista ng body condition score upang malaman natin kung ano ang nararapat na feeding program base sa kanilang individual body types. So, ito'y pwedeng gawin pagkatapos ng walay, 30 days of gestation, and 80 to 90 days of gestation. Kapag masyadong mataba ang inahin bago manganak, maaari silang magkaroon ng problema sa panganganak o di kaya ay mas mahina ang kanilang paggagatas. Kapag naman masyadong payat, maaari ring manghina ang kanilang paggagatas. At the same time, maapektuhan ang fertility at haba ng productivity life bilang inahin sa mga susunod na cycles. So, sa mga biik, maaari naman natin gawin ang split suckling and fostering para ma-maximize natin ang pagdede ng mga biik. So, ang isa pa nating dapat tutukan ay ang pagpapanatili ng optimal environment para sa mga biik para hindi sila ginawin. So, meron tayong mga ginagawang management systems dito katulad ng manual na pagtutuyo gamit ang basahan or pagtutuyo gamit ang mga drying powders, paggawa ng brooder box, paglalagay ng mga nest or heaters para maiwasan ang pagkakaroon ng mga weak piglets dahil sila yung mga kadalasang hindi nakakakuha ng sapat na gatas sa inahin at sila yung mga nauuna ring madaganan at nakakadagdag sa crushing mortalities. So next is we will discuss the role of good nutrition in building up strong immunity. So according to Ducrot et al. Of Veterinary Research, Volume 42, so in animals, health may be defined as the absence of disease or the normal functioning of an organism and normal behavior based on the observation of a certain number of individuals that determine the standard and thus health. So in production sectors, health also may be defined as the state allowing the highest productivity. However, this narrow definition often is enriched by the concept of a balance between the animal and its environment and of the animal's physical welfare. So if there is balanced metabolism, there is balanced immune system, and any physiologic changes can also result to immune challenges. So, immune system detects any abnormal changes in the body, pwedeng sa behavioral, cellular, or metabolic changes. The general response to invaders triggers the release of cytokines or messengers, which activates the immune system. So, cytokines also lower voluntary feed intake and increase core body temperature and body heat production, and it triggers inflammation, which is energy costly. So, meron pa tayong isang phenomenon na tinatawag na nutrient repartitioning. So, when nutrients are diverted away from productive functions, for example, lean tissue growth, and toward the nutrient demands of the immune system as a result of the immune challenge. So, ito yung mga metabolic changes which can increase the basal metabolic rate or nakakapag-increase siya ng demand sa carbohydrates or more energy na nakukuha sa feed. So, it increases the carbohydrate utilization and subsequently increases the energy requirement. So, tissue growth rates and body protein synthesis are reduced so that more body proteins can be degraded. And it contributes to the body's defense for fighting against invading antigens. So, an immune challenge decreases the protein synthesis and increases protein degradation rates as a result of reduced feed intake and to meet the increased need for nitrogen to synthesize immunological products. So ano ba ang mangyayari kung magkakaroon tayo ng imbalanced uptake of vitamins, minerals, and amino acids? So ito ay pwedeng makuha kapag una, mababa ang feed intake ng animals, or imbalanced ang proportion ng vitamins, minerals, amino acids sa feed. So let's see what will happen. So if there is imbalanced uptake of vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, it can cause additional decrease in feed intake, decreased uptake of important precursors. So dito naman ay makikita natin yung specific roles nila pagdating sa immune system. So, imbalanced amino acids, decreased substrate to be used as precursor for immune cells maintenance and production. And supplemental vitamin E and selenium are known to increase the ability to synthesize antibodies and increase the resistance to MMA or mastitis, metritis, and agalaxia. So for iron imbalances, the levels either is too high or too low, increase susceptibility to a number of bacterial and parasitic infection. Then sa zinc is an essential cofactor for over 70 enzymes, and zinc plays in cell turnover. Cell turnover is the pagpapalit from dead cells to new cells, so production ng newer cells. So a deficiency weakens immunity by impairing antibody synthesis and thus increasing susceptibility infections. So sa vitamin A, supports functional integrity of epithelial tissues, support production of antibodies and antibody forming in the spleen. For vitamin B complex, used in antibody synthesis. For vitamin C, protect cells from lipid peroxidation, increases fluidity of cell membranes, enhancing immune response, and protection against free radicals. So this table is to show the clinical signs if there are deficiencies in energy, protein, and essential fatty acids. So lacking can result to slow growth, reduced appetite, poor hair and skin conditions, impaired reproduction, increased in dead or weak piglets, reduced fatness in proportion to body weight, anemia, poor feed efficiency, overfat carcass, loss of hair, scaly dandruff like dermatitis, especially of the feet and tail. So next, this table shows the deficiency diseases of specific minerals. And we have 3 slides that will show the possible diseases if there is a low proportion of vitamins in the animals. So this is the first slide. Next, the second slide. And the third slide. So sobrang dami na pwedeng makuhang diseases just by giving low levels of these vitamins and minerals alone. So imbalanced nutrients doesn't only mean that there are lacking in the composition. It can also be caused by too much proportions that may lead to toxicities or poisoning. So next, so What is the role of good gut health in building up strong immunity in piglets? So we all know that certain events like farrowing and weaning can lead to stress. But according to European experiences, even the withdrawal of the use of antibiotic growth promoters can also lead to gut stress. So anything that changes the gut microflora can eventually lead to stress. So even feed transition, like shifting from high fiber gestation to a low fiber, high energy and high protein lactation feed can also affect the gut of the sows. So it can lead to increased in endotoxin levels that can lower down milk production. So piglets always experience this when we start to introduce solid feed. So another factor is the metabolism intensity. So years ago, pigs can be harvested at 180 days of rearing. So now we can harvest them at around 150 to 160 days already. So the pressure of fast growth brought by new technologies can increase the stress to the animals themselves. So all of these factors contribute to stress, which causes intestinal mucosa inflammation. So next, research effort has been focused to identify nutrients or feeding strategies that benefit the immune system to face pathogens invasion. So here's a figure of a healthy intestinal cells with good integrity or matibay ang pagkakadikit-dikit ng mga intestinal cells. So in pig production, special attention has been paid to the immediate post-weaning period, one of the most stressful events in the pig's life. So weaning stress alters pro-inflammatory cytokines that can influence on this intestinal integrity. So this can cause disruption in the intestinal barrier. So when the intestinal barrier is disrupted, there is an increased permeability that allows toxins, bacteria, or antigens to cross the epithelium. Inflammation, malabsorption, diarrhea, and reduced growth. And weaning stress impacts intestinal integrity and can activate the immune response. So disrupted gut integrity can increase the energy and amino acid needs or requirements, and it can also decrease the nutrients absorption because of the disrupted gut integrity or pagkasira nung lining ng gut epithelium. So, kung magkasama na dito yung mga pagkasira ng mga finger-like structures na tinatawag nating villi, kung saan ito yung mga nag-absorb ng nutrients. So, there will be an increase of metabolic deviances and less energy and amino acids available for production ends. So, katulad na napag-usapan natin kanina about nutrient repartitioning, so there will be an increased nutrient allocation for production and reproduction, and there will be more nutrient allocation for the immunity, to power up the immunity response. So, physiologically, the metabolism maintenance, glucose needs, amino acid needs, trace elements needs, and vitamin needs will all be increased, which will later translate to lesser feed intake of 5 to 15%, average daily gain lessened from 5 to 20%, and there will be an increase of maintenance needs from 10% to 30%. So, ito yung napag-usapan natin kanina na na-repartition siya or na-reallocate yung nutrients from dapat ay naka-allocate siya for production and reproduction, and it will be reallocated to the maintenance needs that includes the immunity response activation. So, Last is a possible drop in milk production. So we must aim for a high health herd in terms of management of people, environment, animal welfare, animal health, and animal nutrition. And we can have a whole lot of different sessions from different consultants just to tackle specific factor for swine farming. So now I will introduce how feed manufacturers play a huge role in keeping biosecurity practices seriously. How we produce good quality and safe feed. Feed manufacturers ensures feed safety by conducting different quality control systems. So each has their own systems, but the main goal is to practice bioexclusion by ensuring that the feed to be produced will not be contaminated at such levels that can create damage to livestock animals. So these are some of the tests conducted to raw materials before being accepted to feed mills. Validation of certificate of analysis and safety data sheet, verification of batch code, manufacturing and expiry date, physical inspection, microbial analysis, mycotoxin analysis, and proximate or nutrient analysis. So upon processing of feeds, these are some of the basic parameters being monitored in the finished feeds, focusing on the product qualities. So the dimension and the length of pellets, particle size analysis, pellet durability index, measurement of fines, pellet hardness, water activity, and proximate or nutrient analysis. And of course, we will include toxin analysis and salmonella contamination analysis. So these are some of the equipments in the laboratories. So this is an NIR or a near infrared spectroscopy. It is used to analyze the actual nutrients of raw materials to be used in the feed in matter of minutes instead of the usual 1 to 2 days lead time when we use the wet chemistry laboratory. So we can now produce feed with accurate nutrient specifications on a more economical scale, more efficiently, and on a real-time monitoring timeline. And we can immediately reject feed materials that are not suitable for animal consumption. So thus it increased the biosecurity of our produce. So not only on the nutritional value, but also to ensure quality in terms of shelf life. So we also have rapid analyzers for mycotoxins. These are very common contaminants in raw materials and they are manageable once these are identified early. We also have the pellet durability testers and sieves for particle size analysis, which are also some of the helpful tools in bringing the top quality feeds to your farms. So this is to show you that most of the feed millers have this so-called retention samples or para siyang library ng mga raw materials na inaccept doon sa paggawa ng ating feeds. So these are used for the accurate checking of quality by keeping a record of these raw materials. So this is an example of a quality control flowchart, and we can see that there is not only one kind of critical control point. So it depends on the steps designed, but the main goal is to make sure that the level of contamination will not cause any negative disturbances to the animal's health and welfare. So the main goal is to deliver customer satisfaction by giving the highest quality feed performance and services. And let me run down our feed products that are available already in the market. And our feeds are formulated to have balanced fiber and essential amino acids adjusted to the need of gestating sows in tropical climate. The gestating feed have high vitamins and minerals to maintain good hoof conditions, and increase the longevity of the sows. We have also focused on preventing constipation and MMA occurrences. The main goal is to support the needs of the pregnant sows and the growing fetuses for better immunity and overall good health. Ultra-packed lactating feeds are also formulated with high energy and proteins to support the lactating sow for increased milk production and maintenance of sow's body condition. It is known to have good palatability to make sure that the sows will eat the recommended feed intake because the main goal is to translate the sow's good milk quality to heavy piglets at weaning while maintaining their body condition for the next breeding cycles. So this is a sample feeding guide for sow and gilt, and we can see that there are feed intake ranges because this recommended feed intake will depend on the individual needs of the sow. So, kaya natin pinag-usapan yung body condition scoring earlier is because we can adjust the feeding program according to their individual needs. And next, we also have our pig bloom or booster feed that are given to 5 to 35 days old piglets. And our Ultra Pack Hog Pre-Starter feed to be given to piglets at 36 to 55 days old. We only use the highest and cooked raw materials to ensure that we will have heavy piglets at weaning and with no diarrhea incidents. Here is our Ultra Pack Starter, Grower, and Finisher. So these are designed for fast production of high quality meat and reduction or reduced fat deposition. Bakit magandang Ultra Pack sa inyong mga fatteners? We have quality assurance. We use consistent quality and safe feed, ultra growth formula, ultra bilis magpalaki ng iyong alagang baboy, and ultra meat formula, pack sa laman, pack sa timbang ang iyong alagang baboy. And here are our testimonials of our current, these are from our current Ultra Pack users. Una, nagpapasalamat ako sa Ultra Pack sa pag-develop ng magandang product. Isa ito sa mabilis pero matipid na produkto para sa baboy. Mabilis dahil malaki ang pagkakaiba sa ibang feed sa merkado, maganda ang karne at malaki ang kita. So for the last part is the conclusion. Good nutrition is fundamental to improve immunity. Biosecurity, good management, good health, and good nutrition translates to good animal performance. High health status pigs eat more feed, grow faster, more efficiently during each stage of production, produce carcasses that have a greater amount of lean and less fat, and systematic quality assurance in feed nutrition results to efficient feeding to achieve target farm performance. That is all. Thank you very much.